Hey everybody, good evening. Welcome to another edition of Rob's Little Blue Book. And tonight, as we talked about last week, we are going to be doing tortelloni, another rolled filled pasta. Tortellini is just a big tortellini. It's the size of the only difference. There is another one, even smaller than tortellini, that actually doesn't have a filling, called soprasetti, I think, which is also kind of cute, but we're not doing that tonight. So I'm going to start with a cocktail. I do have a couple things I want to cover after the cocktail. I've learned a little bit about rolling out pasta because I've been doing a fair bit of that lately. But let's start with the cocktail. Everything's off. Okay, so let's start with the cocktail. So I've been meaning to, let's go back to this one. There we go. I have been meaning to figure out ways to use up my absinthe because I have a lot of it, and normally when you put this in a cocktail, it's like you rinse the glass or you spritz in it out of a spray bottle. And I wanted to find a cocktail that actually used absinthe as a spirit, and I did. It was invented by Ernest Hemingway, which should surprise nobody. It's called Death in the Afternoon, after one of his books. Well, actually, the book Death in the Afternoon. And it has a couple of cool features. So it is 1 ounce of absinthe, and you can just build it in the glass. And I'm going to build it in a coupe, which I make a lot of drinks in these days because I have them and I like them. But in this particular case, it's actually the correct glass. So it's 1 ounce of absinthe, about 2 teaspoons of simple syrup, not a lot. The original cocktail was it had no simple syrup in it. Absinthe is a pretty strong flavor, so the simple syrup helps a little bit with that. Feel free to adjust simple syrup to your taste. And then the beauty of this is, whoa, I was not expecting that. You top it with Prosecco. So we had this Prosecco sitting in the fridge from the other night, and the nice thing about this is because champagne, Prosecco, any carbonated beverage, when it hits spirit, is going to lose its carbonation. So this drink is actually perfect for using up Prosecco that you had that might not be completely carbonated anymore. Normally this stuff doesn't, apparently this one did. Normally it doesn't keep its fizz 100%, but in this particular case it seems like it did. In any case, if you have flat Prosecco or champagne, and this is supposed to go like all cloudy and weird, which it is. I have never tried this before. In fact, I had never even heard of this cocktail before this afternoon. And we'll see how it tastes. All right, guys. And it is nice and cloudy as advertised. A little skeptical about this one. Excuse me. Let's try this out. Okay, that's pretty good. You wouldn't want to drink a lot of these. It has a very, very strong. Yeah, Serena. Sorry, I just saw your comment now. I was, as you can see, I was quite surprised when it popped off. This is something everybody should try. I can tell you right away, this drink would be a very acquired taste. I like it. I happen to like the taste of black licorice or anise. If you don't like the taste of black licorice, don't even try this. This has a very, very strong flavor. But I like it. This is definitely a sipping cocktail. I'm not gonna drink this one too quickly. I also feel like you probably wouldn't want to eat this or drink this before you were gonna eat. It is definitely not an aperitif. This is like a digestif, something later, or maybe the last thing you have before you go to bed. I don't know. I'm still thinking about that one, guys. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to acquire the taste. As I said, I do like it. I'm just not sure I would ever make one again. it's not a bad cocktail. There are so many great cocktails to make. I don't think I would pick that one again. It's not like an old fashioned, which is like just one of my go-tos, and I never get tired of them. So that's definitely like the cocktail equivalent of a deep cut. Once in a while, it's great, but not in your regular playlist. Okay, so now that that's out of the way, although I still have the taste in my mouth, let's talk about a couple of cool things. We're going to roll out a pasta sheet in a sec. I'm going to tell you a couple of things that I learned, but I'll show you the two cool things for tonight. Let's go back. Okay. I'm not sure this is going to be a cool thing. So it's really hard to buy quality pasta tools in... Yeah, Rebecca, I think you're right. I honestly, though, I think I would put Death in the Afternoon above Texas Tea. Because the Texas Tea was pretty bad. The Texas Tea was actually horrid. Now, vodka martini will forever remain on the bottom of any serious list of cocktails. It has earned its last place. I don't think anything could be as foul as that. Texas Tea is close, but still, it doesn't stack up against the vodka martini. So, I think Death in the Afternoon is above Texas Tea. Oh, you're asking me to rank. I get it. Well, I just did that. So in this case, Death in the Afternoon, it's not a bad cocktail. Texas Tea was foul. It was really not a good drink at all. And a vodka martini is just an abomination. There's no excuse for it. So that's always going to be on the bottom. I can't think of a cocktail I would rank lower than. Well, I'm a little dramatic. I mean, it's kind of the point. But yes, you're right. The Texas Tea, the reason I say the Texas Tea was foul is it just reminded me of being like a teenager and swiping liquor from my parents' liquor cabinet, where you took a little bit of everything so it wasn't so obvious and you just mixed it in one jug. That's what Texas Tea reminded me of. So, in any case, we were talking about the cool thing here. This is actually a ravioli cutter. But this is, I think, 2¼ inches wide. It's actually about the right size for tortelloni too. You just roll this over the sheet, and it's supposed to cut squares. I got this today. This is a Fox Run ravioli cutter, and the quality is Fox Run quality, so it's pretty crappy. I don't have high hopes for this, but I wanted to have a couple of tools to try out for cutting pasta. And I'm going to put in. I'm putting in an order from a website that's in Emilia Romagna that sells proper Italian pasta tools, but they're in Italy, and its shipping is longer. So once I get that listed, we'll have more cool things to talk about. I'm going to order some more stuff from Nona's Woodshop in BC because the Mattarello was an unbelievable quality piece. So I'm kind of excited to see what else those guys are doing. Okay, so but this is my other current cool thing. This I love this is a pastry divider cutter thing. According to the box, it is a fried dough sticks knife. I don't know what that is. I don't know what dough sticks are, or why you'd fry them. However, I'll show you guys how this works. These are awesome for cutting pasta, or at least I hope it is. So it's just one of these guys. It's adjustable. It's an accordion cutter. You can set it to whatever you want. So tonight we're going to set it actually more or less at the max for cutting the squares, and you just roll it over your sheet this way, and hopefully you have tortellini-sized squares. We're going to find out. So I'm going to put that actually, I'm going to collapse this for out of the way. Any questions on the cool things? I know these you guys probably don't. I don't recommend buying either of these things, by the way. Wait until I get the good stuff, and then I can really. I got these because I wanted to try them for stream, and Amazon next day is a little bit tempting sometimes. But wait till I get the good stuff. I mean, you could actually. I mean, look at that's narrow enough. That's like half an inch. You could just roll out tagliatelle like the noodles just like that. Maybe? I don't know. I mean, cutting them by hand with a knife is not hard. It's kind of an adventure. So one of the things I have learned though, and if you remember last week, when I rolled out the dough, I had two portions of it, and I took a 4 egg ball, and what's on? I took a 4 egg ball and I cut it in half, and I rolled out just one piece, and it was a small piece, and it went pretty well. I got it down to the right thickness, but I've rolled out a few spolia since, and I've learned a couple things. So the bigger the piece, actually within reason, the easier it is to roll out. And I think the reason is elasticity. If you take a small elastic and try and stretch it, it's really tight. Okay, it just doesn't stretch very well. But if you take a really long elastic, yes, pasta Wolverine, it stretches really easily. And I should have known this because this is exactly the experience I had with the hand-pulled noodles. Now, having said all that, rolling out a 4 egg sheet was, hi Alyssa, by the way, rolling out a 4 egg sheet was challenging when I'm doing stream because I don't have a lot of room. So I'm going to compromise, split the difference here. We're going to do a 3 egg portion, and I'm going to roll this out, and we're going to cut it into tortellini. I'm going to show you guys tortellini and tortelloni. You make them exactly the same way. And on the way, I'm going to show you triangoli. Yes, it's a thing, and yes, it's exactly what you think. And in terms of hydration, I have been upping the hydration of my doughs to get them a little more pliable and a little less dry. This one has actually stuck to the thing, but I think this is okay. Oh yeah, Alyssa, you probably missed all of the back to work drama because you're on contract. Well, also temporarily. They are starting to make noises about calling us back to work, like actually into the office these days. So yeah, people aren't happy about it, and most people aren't going back. But that's to be expected, right? Because who wants to work in an office? Okay, so this is going to be our dough for tonight. By the way, if you're looking for 00 flour, you can get it at Loblaws. President's Choice has a black label 00 flour, which I use to make this a couple of sheets now, and I quite like it. So I think, yeah, you really did dodge a bullet. I think, so the first round of 00 flour I got, it's a very popular brand for supermarkets. I can't remember the name of it. I got it at Freshco, and it was okay, but I really like the way this dough kneaded up, and I like the way it rolls out. So I don't normally recommend things from Loblaws. I don't recommend you ever go to Loblaws, but in this particular case, it might be worth it. So feel free to throw some questions into the chat. This is going to take a few minutes to roll out. But I did want to show you guys another rollout. And again, I'm starting, if you didn't see last week, starting halfway. So I'm basically putting the Mattarello so I can see half the sheet, and I'm rolling up. And this first step, and then it's basically not quite a quarter turn. I'm kind of turning it like 12 to 10. Don't roll off the end of the sheet and squash your ends, because as you go through the rolling out the sheet process, it'll dry out. If you do get, you want to keep it kind of round. So any like non-round bit you get here is going to be a problem later on. That's what this, you see this end, that's what this rounded end is for. Just give it a couple, like a little nudge, you know, and that's all you need to do. So this is this process, this motion is called Bordeaux. Presumably because you do it on a board, I don't know. I'm guessing there. Not to be confused with Brodo, and I'm probably mangling the pronunciations. We are actually doing tortellini on brodo, which is tortellini and broth tonight. And we're going to talk about stock in a little bit. I finally kind of got around to making up some fresh stock because I did a batch of this the other night, and I served it in the whatchamacallit. That's exactly right, Alyssa. I'm finding that, and I'm working on my own dough ratios for this. I'm finding the flour makes a big difference. Just the humidity in the room makes a difference. I'm getting a feel for it. This particular batch, I switched to extra large eggs. So I'm currently on about, let me see, 90 grams of flour to 1 extra large egg is kind of the sweet spot for this flour. Now, other flours may be different. I don't know. I think, but I will tell you, having kneaded out quite a few sheets now, it's really easy to sense how the dough is going to be when you're kneading it. Like, one thing that I know from reading and all the research I did, one thing they do not argue about or even talk about in Emilia-Romagna is hydration ratio. Every Nona just does it by feel, and I've watched quite a few clips of them rolling it out, and you notice that when they do their flour well thing, they don't scoop all the flour in at once. They leave some in reserve, and they just do it by feel. And after doing a few sheets, I'm saying, like, you really can do it by feel. Like, you get a sense for how, after you've rolled out a few, you can tell right away when you're kneading it, how it's going to roll out. Okay, so now I'm going to switch. So once you get out to about this size, we can switch to rouleau as well, which is this little flip thing, and we bring it back here, and we're just going to roll it out this way. So this also stretches the dough slightly, but it also allows you to change the direction on a larger sheet. Once it gets up to this size, it's actually kind of tough to just rotate it. So this is basically what you're doing here. And now I'm kind of going like 12, 10, and 2, like a roll in each direction. And then we're gonna. You can give it a little tug here and a little stretch there, like. And then in a second we'll sticking. Okay, so this is something that is a good sign to me because it's stuck on the roll. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it's stuck on the roll. That's just started happening as I move up in hydration. And that's okay. You just give it a little bit of flour. But I think that tells me that I'm getting my hydration closer to what it's supposed to be. You can also give it a little roll here. And then eventually we're going to be stretching it out as we roll it out here. Just roll it back, switch it. My stretching is not perfect yet, but I'm working on it. Yes, I get that. It's really easy to geek out about dough ratios. I love cooking science. So I sympathize with your dad. Yeah, I'm going to speed this up just a little bit so we're not here all night. And I will tell you guys, once you get the hang of this, you can roll these sheets out pretty quick. So this one, for tortellini, or any filled pasta, we want to roll out to the thickness of about 9 Post-it notes. So it's a little bit thicker than tagliatelle, like we did last week. And I'm just going to kind of brief on this guy so we're not here all night. So yeah, and again, we're a little bit stretch there. Maybe we'll give it a stretch off the counter now. Again, just, you can see I'm just like stretching it out. Perfect. And then again, we'll like roll it up, switch directions. I don't think I have the camera as far out as I did last week. Okay, now the other thing I've noticed here is the dough it's a little reluctant to move off the counter. So I know that my counter, and we're going to check. One thing you want to do when you're rolling this out is make sure that your counter doesn't, see, it's damp. You know, it's a little bit too damp. So we're just going to take a little flour. You do want your wood counter to have some traction so that you can roll it out and stretch it. You don't want it as damp as I've got it here. Because the dough is like kind of like grabbing and sticking. It's got to run with the counter just a little bit. Massage that out. Okay. And again, this is a little easier without all my stream stuff on the counter. Just get a couple of rolls here. Come on, let go. A little stretch. I'm kind of cheating. I'm not cheating, but I grab, you guys can see, but I'm grabbing the edge of the dough with my, basically with my stomach and pinching it so that I can stretch it out a bit. Okay. Now we're just going to hammer them. I'm talking a lot, which is fine. But I don't want to be here all night rolling this stuff for you guys. Thankfully, I didn't buy like, and you can see, oh, you guys can't see. So I have part of the sheet just hanging off the edge of the counter. This is what happens when your sheet gets to a certain size, and this is one of the reasons you work on the top half of the sheet always, is that it'll get to the point where it just won't fit on the counter, and that's okay. Just let it hang off the counter. That's the whole point. Come on. There we go. I learned this little tugging motion watching a Nona on YouTube, who was just unbelievably accomplished. But you learn a lot from watching other people do this, right? Wow, it's too much stuff on my counter everywhere, right? I feel like we're getting close. We're not quite there yet, but I can now. My judge, as I said, the standard seems to be if you can see the cathedral through the pasta sheet. But as I said, don't have a lot of cathedrals near us. My counter's still too wet here. So once I can start seeing the wood grain through the sheet, I know I'm getting close. And I'm definitely very close. I actually don't have a stack of Post-it notes to measure, but eyeball it. And then we can get around to like the business at hand. And this does go faster when you're not when you're actually sort of a little more focused on the task at hand. Oh, see, I have just run out completely out of room on this counter. Okay. So I think I'm going to call this pretty soon. I feel like we're getting very close to done here. A couple more stretches and we're good. But you can still see I'm getting a good stretch in each direction as we go through the sheet. Kind of want to like, there we go. Okay. Let's roll this out here. I think I don't want to pick this up because this does a little wet, but I really think that this is pretty thin. I could almost cut this into tagliatelle or something, another noodle or something. Okay, let's roll this up for a sec. We're gonna give it one last stretch in this direction and call it. I'm gonna actually unroll a little bit of it there so I don't hit the monitor. There we go. You guys can just see it stretch. I don't know if you. Oh yeah, you guys. So you can see the counter grain. You know, really hard to do on camera. You can see the counter grain through the sheet. Okay, yeah, this is enough. All right. So, any questions on the dough rolling part? We're going to start cutting this and filling it. This is actually going a little faster than I expected. I kind of feel like, let's degas this one more time. What do you think, guys? I kind of feel like we're diminishing returns here. So we're going to play with this sheet a little bit because just creased it. I'm going to try out these tools, which I have never used before, so I make no guarantees. What do you guys want to try first? Should we try the ravioli thingy? I'm sure that's the technical name, by the way, is thingy. The only thing is I need to keep this dry. So one of the things that I'm going to do this right now. These sheets dry out when they're this thin. They'll dry out pretty quick. So you kind of want to keep as much of it covered as you can. I'm going to just roll this through and just see what happens. Yeah. This is not a good this is not a good tool. Let's try this one more time, but yeah. Okay. So, that was a mistake. Let's move on to other cutter. Okay, this I know works. And again, we kind of want, so for tortelloni, yeah, the small one did not work. It was I knew it was a piece of shit when I opened it out of the envelope, and I was not wrong. So let's trim this off. No, maybe I'll just use that as a guideline. So this is going to go, if you do this at home on your own, guys, get as much counter space as you can possibly get, because I gotta tell you, this uses a lot of counter space. So this, I'm just going to glide it through. I hope I'm going more or less straight. Did it even cut? So the center wheel did not cut at all. So let's fix that. This is always a challenging. So I'm just gonna I'm not impressed so far with either piece of equipment, but let's see, maybe this is just me. So let's just see if I can get a good cut through this way. Okay. So let's just, oh, is that what I'm doing? Well, I mean, I gotta put my hands somewhere, but okay. I can kind of work on that. Okay. Let's try and get some tortellini done, and we can worry about the cutting of the rest of it yesterday. Okay, later. So I have, okay guys, I was gonna do this on stream for you, but I had some leftover. This is ricotta and parmesan and an egg. You just whisk the crap out of it, put it in a pastry bag. You don't even need a tip. You can put this in a Ziploc and just snip the corner off. Or you can just spoon it out if you want, but it's a little easier just to like put a dollop like this. I mean, these are actually going to be more like tortellini. This is kind of an in-between size. This is going to be interesting. All right. So to make a piece of tortellini or tortelloni is exactly the same. Only the size of the square is different. So let's just go through this together. Put it in your hand, and you go bottom to top. We're going to talk about pinching in just a sec. And then just pinch it all around. Now, one of the things you want to do when you're making filled pasta, especially tortellini or tortelloni, is we have this down to the thickness of 9 Post-it notes, okay, which is great. But we want to keep that thickness. So when you double it over, push it, like press it back the original thickness. Because if you don't, the piece will cook unevenly in the water, okay? Now, everybody will develop their own technique for making tortellini. I do mine a little differently than the next guy. But what you want to do is, you can see it here, is you make a little channel here and a little channel there, and it just goes around. Whoa. Yeah, these are small. So around your finger like that, and again on the back, right? So again, here on this back piece is I have multiple thicknesses of pasta. So you really want to push that down, squish that down until it's back down to the thickness of your sheet. And there you go. Got a little mini tortellini. Now, as I said, you will develop your own technique. You can kind of do this in any order you want. Everybody makes their tortellini a little differently. I used to make this all the time with my daughter when she was younger, who made like the most delightful tiny little tortellini. So tortellini is also like, it's very personal because a lot of it depends on the size of your hand, right? So people with small hands are going to make nice tiny little tortellini, and people with bigger hands are going to make bigger tortellini, and it's all great. These are definitely tortellini. I apologize. I was intending to make tortelloni, which is a bigger square, but this is just what we're getting tonight. And the other reason I'm kind of going quick here is because, oh my God. I'm going quick because the pasta sheet will dry out. So this one is kind of like, still, it's going to be okay. Now, let's talk about a couple of things. So I'm making up a fair bit here. What do you do with your extra? Because believe me, when you go through this process, you're going to end up with like a lot of little tortellini. So in order to save it, in order to, if you want to put it in the freezer, it freezes beautifully, but you need to blanch it in water first. You can't put the, I guess, raw tortellini or any raw filled pasta, whatever it is, ravioli, whatever you're making, you can't put that in the fridge because the filling will bleed through the pasta. So you have to blanch it, and blanching it just means dumping them in. I need smaller fingers. Blanching means dumping them in boiling water, cooking them for like 30 seconds until you kind of set the exterior of the pasta dough. And then once that's done, scoop them out, dry them on a cloth like this, or whatever you like. And then they're ready for to go in the freezer. So again, to freeze them, if they're on a sheet tray on a cloth like they will be, put that whole sheet just in the freezer till everything's frozen, and then once they're frozen, then after they're frozen, then you can package them up into a bag or whatever you want to store in the freezer. And yeah, there we go. So the other thing is and I should explain about this is, does anybody know how tortellini, how the shape supposedly came about? Probably don't, because I didn't. So it turns out that an Italian pasta maker was visited by Aphrodite at his inn. and he somehow observed her through the keyhole of her room door, and saw her navel. Probably saw more than that. Definitely saw her navel, and then he was inspired to create this pasta shape, which I guess if you kind of look at it in the right light, at the right angle, looks like a little navel. I don't know. So Cappelletti is another shape that's actually very similar to tortellini, and I'm a little confused. So honestly, if you get really picky about it, tortellini should be from a round cut of dough, like a circle. I honestly think that Cappelletti is what we're making here. Cappelletti comes from a square, and it's supposed to be the hat of the captain. So you can pick whatever origin story you want, and just like retcon it in your own head. It's fine. Just go with whatever. I mean, to be honest, the whole Italian dude in the inn story with Aphrodite is kind of creepy. So I'm gonna go with well, not that the Cleopatra's any less. Anyway, I don't know, guys. I'm not gonna get into that part of it. Make up your own origin story and stick with it. And if you come up with a really good one, maybe you can sell it to Marvel. Oh. So I'm just gonna do a few of these. So what normally happens with me when I get a sheet like this is I get about 16 of these done, which is enough for dinner, and then I just cut the rest into tagliatelle or linguine or whatever, fettuccine, whatever shape I feel like for the next day, and then roll it up. So, but I'm gonna do these pieces because I should turn the water on. And I still want to talk about broths. We're going to talk about broths after this. As you all know, my go-to broth for when I don't have fresh stock is the Better Than Bouillon. Oh, little cake. See, maybe Rebecca's right. I don't know. I like little cakes. That's the best one we've had so far. A little aggressive on the filling here. You can also obviously, you guys fill these with whatever you want. And we'll talk. I'm going to keep doing a little bit of Italian, I think, over the next little bit. I want to do ravioli next. I'm going to kind of like go through here. These are really small for my fingers. I need my daughter here for this. She made like the most beautiful little tortellini. They were awesome. So the reason you have this channel, by the way, and it's important not to close up the channel. So if you look at the way I'm doing this, and again, I'm pressing the pasta down to a single thickness. If you don't do that, it won't cook evenly. You'll have little crunchy bits and little soft bits. But this channel, don't close this channel. It's supposed to stay open. I don't know if you guys can see, because that is where the water, when you cook it, the water circulates through that channel, which is what gives you a nice even cooking. I'm gotta tell you, I'm really happy with the way this dough turned out. This sheet so far has been a joy to work with. This is my best sheet yet, and this is a higher hydration than I have done so far. So I'm really happy with that. Turn over. Now, most people don't flip theirs over the way I have. This is just the way I made so many of these back in the day that I just have a kinesthetical awareness of like a motor muscle memory of how I did it. And it works for me, but as I said, everybody will develop their own, which is like part of the fun, right? It's very satisfying to work with dough like this and make something so intimate and just fun, you know? Okay. 3 more. Risotto Milanese. That's actually not a bad idea either. I'm coming to the conclusion. I always come back to Italian cooking. I love cooking so many different cuisines. I love Korean, and I love like American barbecue. It's not really a cuisine, but you know what I mean. I like that. I love burgers. But the one cuisine I always come back to, the one that I just enjoy so much, I enjoy cooking it so much just from the philosophy of simple high quality ingredients, prepared, in a very thoughtful, mindful way. Like, you can't make tortellini and you can't do what I'm doing without thinking, like, people have done this for hundreds of years, made pasta just like this. And it's why I'm so happy that I sort of rediscovered. Yeah, ossobuco just takes too long. It's a wonderful dish too. I might be, ossobuco takes, no, you know what, it's too long. It just sits there and simmers. So maybe if I did ossobuco and got it started and then we were like talking about something else or making something else. Okay, guys, I think that's what I'm gonna make for right now. Should I make a few more? I don't know. I feel like I could make a few more while I wait. I'm waiting for the water to boil anyway. So let me, maybe I can do another roll this way. That's 3 more there. And I need an even number because I'm serving 2 portions. So maybe we'll roll up here. Probably an easier way to do this. As I said, I'm gonna have lots of leftovers. Yeah, I'm still waiting on the water. Let me do, what do you think? 4 more? Oh, and the other thing we're gonna do soon too, when I get my order from Nona's Wood Shop, is we're gonna do garganelli, which is also super fun, and really easy to make, and also very satisfying. Okay, I'm gonna do 6 more, and then we're gonna get on with the show here, because it is, it's 1:45. Wow. Okay, so I've been actually going about this a little longer than I thought. Let's get these done up. Thank you guys for sticking with me. This is a little bit of a finicky process. I wasn't planning on making quite so many here, but whatever, right? The other thing about tortellini, and one of the reasons you have to be so mindful when you do it, is you can't rush this. If you try and go fast making tortellini, it won't work. Okay, so by the way, if you don't want to make tortellini, and you don't want to fuss with the little shape and bending it around your finger and all that, you can make triangoli, which is this. You can stop here, just push this down. There's no reason. You want to make fresh filled pasta and you're kind of in a rush, you can stop right there. It has a name. It's got a legit name. I didn't make up triangoli, even though it sounds like I did. It's a real shape. It has a history. It's authentic. It's as authentic as tortellini. So knock yourselves out. Okay. Get 3 more of these done, and then we'll get these in the water. These also cook extremely quickly, so you kind of have to be like all ready to go. There we go. You're done. 3 more. And the sheet's drying out, so I have a spray bottle here, and if I was like not almost done, I would probably give the sheet a little bit of a spritz. Rebecca, there are so many pasta shapes that I don't know, and so many I had never heard of. I wouldn't surprise me if there was. Like cornetti is the little stamps, which are really cute. They're like little discs. I really want to do ravioli. I want to get a little ravioli press. Not a press. You can get like a little ravioli stamp puncher thing that seals the dough and does. See, I mangled this one. See, I'm talking, and having said that you shouldn't rush this, I rushed it a little bit, and I have my worst one so far. He's still okay though. Everybody's a little different, right? And we still haven't talked about stock, and we're going to do that. And you know what, guys? You're just going to hang around. I'm going to just regroup after this guy hits the mat here, and we're going to talk about stock because I wanted to do a little experiment. I made fresh stock today, so I made it's kind of a chicken meat stock, and I'll tell you what was in it in a sec. Very, very simple to make, and it's also like the base broth for a lot of Italian pasta dishes. Okay, unfortunately, I'm gonna actually just pack this up, this part of the sheet for now. This, by the way, your leftover offcuts also have a name. I forget what they are, but I'll just slice this up and dry it out later. You can use it. But now, let's just get it out of the way. Okay, you guys go over there. And again, the sheet I've cut through, I'm just gonna score this out. Kind of a shame, but I will cut it into shapes after the stream. Okay, so we've got our tortellini. They can just sit there for a sec. Really like the way they turned out. See how cute they are? I think these guys are great. And each one, there we go. Each one individual, fantastic. Water can stay boiling. Now what I wanted to do for you guys, because it's not that I've been championing better than bouillon, but I have said that it's my go-to for when I don't make stock. So I want to do a taste test. I'm going to taste the better than bouillon back to back with my homemade broth, and we'll see how it stacks up. So this is better than bouillon on the left. This is going to be homemade broth on the right. Now, of course, I haven't seasoned this yet because I don't know exactly. Like, I'll season the bowls as they come out. So I'm going to give this just like a tiniest pinch of salt to bring the flavor up. Let's see. Yeah, and it's not that I'm a sponsor because, you know, if you have time, obviously fresh stocks, are better. What do you think I should try first? What order should I do this in? Anybody show there? Cheat way first. Okay, that's what we're gonna do. I mean, it tastes like, yeah, both you guys agree. Okay, good. This tastes like, it's not bad. It tastes like packaged chicken stock. Oh. Okay, that needs just a tiny bit more salt, but this is, no, this, wow, okay. So, Oh, even better. When you nail the seasoning, oh my god. It does taste like chicken. Wow. Okay, so there's really no contest. Yeah, no. Yeah. Okay, so but let me back up though, because we're really comparing apples to oranges here. Not gonna steak one for a sec. If your recipe calls for broth as one of many ingredients, I still think there's nothing wrong with better than bouillon. But if the broth is a feature of the dish the way it is going to be tonight, I would not use this. So this is unbelievable. Very, very happy I made it. So let's get this going. What do I want to do here? Hang on. Let's get rid of that. I think what I need to do is ladle out some stock and season it for the dish tonight. So I don't want to season all my stock because, as I said, I don't know how I'm going to use it, right? So the problem is when I don't know what the end use is, I don't know what the seasoning I need is. So I know for a broth where I'm featuring hot shit. For a broth that I'm featuring just the tortellini in, I know what level of salt I want. So I'm just going to season what I'm going to use tonight. It's very, very close. I think that's good, actually. It would be easier to taste if I hadn't just burned my tongue. No, these a little more. Go gentle with the salt on homemade stock. It's easy to overwhelm it. A little bit. Like normally I'm kind of a salt maniac, but there we are, nailed it. Okay, so go easy on your stock. I like salt. I find most people don't salt their food enough. In this particular case, it needs to be pretty subtle. Okay, so what we're gonna do is let's get these guys. I have no idea how to do this. Into the water. So this is gonna cook relatively quickly. Basically, with tortellini, the minute they come up to the surface of the water again, they're kind of done. Especially when they're this small. We'll give them a done. These will probably be done in like 95 seconds, give or take. Probably a better way to do this. But I want to be gentle with them because we just spent an hour making them. This guy's gonna bust open, I can tell. Yes, I know, and I think that's what Rebecca's mom calls it. She calls it like the Watch Rob Eat channel. So okay, I'm gonna dunk these guys. Check them in 99 seconds. In the meantime, of course, the plates are in the oven. Let's get those out. It's really important to have go back. It's really important to have warm plates for this. Ow, hot. And actually, I want to go back to this camera. Okay, you guys can see. Turn this down. I got my stock up to temperature. So the other thing you do, what I don't have the capability of doing here tonight is, and I didn't want to, if I was doing a larger portion of this, if I was serving 4 people, I would be boiling the tortellini, cooking the tortellini directly in the broth. But I don't want to do that tonight because I don't want to contaminate, not contaminate, but I don't want to cook the pasta in the broth that I'm going to save for another use. But if you were doing this for 4 people, definitely cook it in the broth. Timer would have worked better if I'd started it. Where'd my skimmer go? Oh, here it is. But I think we're done here. Can I carry it? No. Okay. You're done. Okay, great. I'm just going to split these between the bowls. I think it's one, and can't count tonight. That looks good. Get everything off here. Let's ladle in some of this. The other nice thing about the homemade broth, of course, is it's beautifully clear. It's not muddy like whatchamacallit, the better than bouillon. Okay, let me get one of these off to Serena, and then we'll do a taste test. Yeah, I'll make it. Okay, guys, I'm back. No, I'm not going to do cheese for this one. I think that there's enough cheese in the tortellini that it doesn't need it. But if you wanted to, there would be no reason not to grate a table cheese over the top of this. But now we're going to go back to watch Rob eat soup. Drink soup? Eat soup? Just check the broth here. Okay. Hopefully these are cooked enough. They look it. Yeah. Okay, guys, this is my second batch this week. I did a larger tortelloni, and these are just amazing. Yeah, guys, there's not a lot to not a lot to criticize about this one. Yeah, I don't know either. Like, I feel this is a dish you eat because it's got tortellini in it. But look at the clarity of the. Oh, you guys can. Hang on. Do this. Like, look at the clarity of the broth. And I didn't. This isn't even a consommé. Like, I didn't clarify this. There's other steps you can go to. Maybe I'll do that for you guys one time. There's other steps you can do to fortify and clarify a broth to make it like crystal clear. But I mean, that's it, guys. Like, you can see all the lights. This is really good. It's wonderfully simple. I don't have a lot to say about this. It's just really good. So another thing I wanted to touch on is this is a fantastic dish, and if you don't have time or desire to make fresh pasta and a filling, like, this is worth trying out with you could get, if you got a good quality fresh store-bought tortellini and made your own broth, I think I would start there. So if you were going to make this for yourself, I would make the broth homemade before I did the pasta. The other way you can serve this. Wow. Here, salt this just a little more. The other way you could serve this tortellini is in a Parmesan cream sauce, which is actually really, really easy to make. You literally just heat cream and grate Parmesan in it to taste. Makes a wonderful presentation too. So there you go. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry this is just watch Rob eat, guys, but this is really good. Okay, so let's talk about next week. A little bit. I want to continue in the homemade pasta vein right now. I'm really enjoying it. It's kind of a limitless field, so I'm willing to well, not willing. If you guys had suggestions or things that you wanted to see, we could do ravioli, we could do agnolotti, we could do caramel. It look really cool, although I don't know if I can make it. Caramel is literally a filled pasta that looks like little caramels. They're basically wrapped up the same way. They're really cute. Wow. So, okay. Since I do want to give a critique, I think I'm noticing in a couple of the tortellini here is that I could have pressed it thinner when I was sealing it on the back side. It's a little bit thick there on some of them, and it's not as cooked. It's still cooked, it's just not the same texture as the rest of the tortellini. Does that matter? I'm not sure. Wow, damn. Okay, guys, so what do you guys think? Is this something you guys would try at home? I want to show you guys things that, like techniques that you can actually do. I feel like the hand-rolled pasta, the handmade pasta, it seems unnecessarily intimidating. It's really not. You don't need a Mattarello. You just need eggs, flour, and some elbow grease. You do need a rolling pin? No, you don't. You can use a wine bottle, right? Like, this is primal stuff. It's easy to make. Okay, so there you go. Empty bowl, guys. I'll down the broth later. But that's kind of what I have for you guys tonight. I'm very happy with the way this turned out. As I said, up until this week, I think the last time I made tortellini was like when my daughter was 8, so a long time ago. So for me, this was a fantastic dish. It brought back great memories, which I think cooking. It's important that cooking do that. Like, cook from your memory, cook things that from your past that are important. It doesn't matter what it is. Like, whatever you grew up on is important to bring into your current cooking. It's really good. So that's kind of it, guys. And I just keep sitting here saying this is good over and over again, but I'm very happy with it. I highly recommend you try this out. Everybody here, pretty sure knows me. If you want the ingredients, again for the broth, it was a chicken, 2 or 3 short ribs, like beef short ribs, 2 stalks of celery, 2 carrots, an onion, peppercorns. I think that's it. Oh, and the other thing too is save these guys. Save your Parmesan rinds for your stock. As I said, these serve 2 purposes for me. They make amazing dog treats, and they also do a fantastic job fortifying stock. So other than that, I think that's everything I put in. There was no. You can throw in a bay leaf if that's your thing. I don't feel that bay leaf suits what I was doing here. But that's it. Okay, guys. Well, I'm gonna hang around for like another minute or two for questions. So throw them in the chat if you have them. Other than that, I covered everything I want to do tonight. I highly recommend you guys research this and learn how to roll out pasta by hand. It is incredibly satisfying. It is not difficult at all, and the results are, like, in terms of return on investment or reward for your effort spent in all the cooking things I've done. I have to. I feel that this is one of the highest on the list. But for the effort you put into this, it's so rewarding. So okay, so I don't see any questions. Everybody have an amazing night. Everybody have a great weekend, and we didn't talk about next week, but I'm gonna do some kind of filled pasta. I think. Don't know. We'll see. Maybe a ragu. You guys want to do like a? You know what? I'll think of something. It'll be good. Looking forward to it, and I'll see you for next week.